Well, good morning, everyone. I am so glad that you're here on a Saturday. You are at the webinar, 3 Ways to Transform Your Mental Blocks Toward Sales. And I am your host, Rosalind Henderson. I'm the owner of Leadership Keys Unlimited. You know, early in my business, I was someone who was absolutely sales avoidant. I just absolutely disliked it. And I had a coach who told us that 80% of our time should be spent on money generating activity. In my business, I was maybe doing that 30% of the time. In fact, you can find me just really getting to and going to one coach after another. You could find me running to one seminar after another, looking for that silver bullet that was going to change my business. You could find me perfecting these social little bits and pieces each and every time. And I tell you, I was doing that, but I was neglecting my business. And it was floundering. It was floundering. And looking back, I had some experiences with salespeople that left a rather bitter taste in my mouth. You know, I encountered salespeople who were all about the sale, who were pushy, who were arrogant, who pressured me. And I didn't want to be anything like that. So I absolutely avoided sales. Plus, I noticed that I needed to grow in my sales confidence. For instance, when a prospect, when they told me no, I took it personally, you know, and I would use it as an excuse not to go and do regular sales events. So what happened was that I got professionally trained in sales. And that for me was a game changer because I was learning to own my own power. And I learned some major things about creating templates for every part of the 9-step sales system. I started working hard on my sales mindset. And the result is that the first time I used this new system, I was able to close a $2,500 sales, then a $500 one, then a $1,000 one. And once that began to happen, I knew that I was able to consistently present an effective presentation. That was transformational for me. So I decided to do a little shift in my business and in my company because it made such a difference in my life. And I am of the mindset that when we focus on really bolstering our sales mindset, plus when we start upping our skills level, that's what makes a sales superstar. That's what makes a sales superstar. And as you know, many of you know that I am a former teacher. And as a teacher, I always want to see people reach their potential. So this became a way to help people do that, to help them consistently make the income they desire. Hey, that makes me stoked. I'm very stoked to be able to help people to do that, to help people who are struggling like I struggled in the past. And I was uncomfortable with sales. I didn't like sales. And now I'm pretty decent at it. I'm pretty effective at it. And so for me, this is a benefit that I want to be able to transfer to you. So that is my background. I want to hop out for a minute and I want to talk to you and have you introduce yourselves. So let me hop out of here. There goes Katie. Hello, Katie and Dee and Suresh. So I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, Katie, if you just hop off, tell us who you are, where you live, what you do, and what you hope to get out of our time together today.
My name is Katie Knoll. I live in Vero Beach, Florida, which is on the East Coast, about halfway between Cape Canaveral and West Palm Beach. I am a mathematician. And I show people how to dissolve their waffles, dissolve their worries, anxiety, fear, frustration, lethargy, exhaustion, and stress through emotional freedom technique. What I hope to get out of this is I know Rosalind is an amazing instructor, and that anything that she has is going to benefit me and the bigger world. So I'm just excited to be here to learn. Thank you.
Katie, thank you so much for being here. And Dee, hi Dee, how are you? We want to see your lovely face. If
Thank you.
possible.
Sorry, I can't come on camera right this moment, but I will say good afternoon to everybody. So I'm Dee. Who am I? So I'm originally from Boston. I now live in Maryland. I am the author of Collect the Cash. And what was your other question?
The other question was, what do you hope to
what do I hope to get out of here? I
Yes.
signed up for this class today because I know that sales is a part of the things you have to do as an entrepreneur. And I'm interested to learn one nugget that I can say, okay, as a result of listening to Rosalind, I'll know how to do this when it comes to talking about my book, my course, my methodology around Collect the Cash for business owners.
Wow, that's exciting. Thank you for being a part of us. And here's my good friend, Suresh, all the way from India. Hi, Suresh.
Hi, Mom. Good evening to you. I'm not able to come in video today, because I am not in proper uniform.
Okay.
So my apology to you and all other panelists. And Mom, we have introduced for the two other guests. I'm Suresh Chandra Mahapatra from India, Bhubaneswar. I'm having 35 years experience in pharmaceutical selling, and sale is a very interesting thing. One must enjoy the sales when he works from the body, mind, and spirit. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. So I'm going to ask everyone to go ahead and mute yourselves. I'm going to go into the presentation, and there will be moments when we'll be coming out of the presentation to have some group discussion. All right, thank you. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our agenda. We're going to talk about the influences your attitude has towards sales. We're going to link the imposter syndrome to selling. We'll have a number of discussions, and I'm going to introduce you to not three. I'm going to throw in another one. I'm going to give you 4 tools to help you transform your sales mindset and the importance of strategy as you grow into a sales superstar. We're going to talk about all those things. And then afterwards, I'm going to invite you to go a little bit deeper with me into a program that I have designed especially for you. So let's get started. Okay, let's talk a little bit about our influences that affect our attitude towards selling. I actually mentioned it a little bit earlier. Everyone recognizes this gentleman right here. He is the used car salesperson. I had a bad taste in my mouth in regards to sales because I have encountered this kind of person before. The person who is pushy, who's arm twisting, who is unethical. If you look at that car, you're going to take it off the lot, and within 10 minutes, it's going to break down, it's going to be steaming, right? So this is a couple of encounters that I had, and it left a trail in my mind. And I didn't want to be associated with that. No one wants to be associated with that. But some of our experiences sometimes linger in our subconscious mind. And we need to begin to change our language, because sales to be very honest with you, is a very noble profession. Now, this is where I'm going to throw in one additional tool, proven tool, that you can use with others to help you to begin to transition and transform that negativity that you have associated with sales. I'm going to start with for affirmations. Let's talk about affirmations. When you use affirmations along with other tools, it really can begin to expedite and really clear up negative energy that you have in your thoughts, in your emotions, in your attitude, and your self-talk as it relates to sales. I hope you have a pen and a piece of paper ready, because I'm going to be giving it to you in this next hour. It is critical to form affirmations based on a few principles for them to work effectively. The first thing I'm going to suggest when you are creating affirmations, again, to change that mindset that you have towards sales, the first thing I want you to do is to keep it brief. Your affirmations are brief. Your affirmations start with I am. Your affirmations need to incorporate feeling words. That just charges the affirmation when you do that. You want to make your affirmations very specific, very specific. You want to make sure that your affirmations are stated in the positive. What do you want? What do you want? State them in a positive manner. And you want to use action words that end in ing. Let me give you a couple of examples of powerful affirmations. I am happily selling from a place of integrity, truth, and service. There's the I in there, I am. The feeling word is there, happily. What are you doing? You're selling, and you're stating what kind of salesperson you want to be. You want to be one that has integrity and honesty and service. Here's a second example of a powerful affirmation. I am eagerly showing up daily to knock my sales goals out of the park. I am is being used. I'm stating this in the present tense. I have the verb with the ing showing. I have a feeling word. I'm eagerly showing up each and every day. So those are two examples of powerful affirmations. Here's my suggestion: to use affirmations daily. You can do it maybe 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, to see if this is a tool that really fits for you. Maybe you want to use it for 30 days and then get some feedback on how effective a tool this can be for you. Now, if you want to bump up your affirmations further, my suggestion is that you record them. You can record affirmations that best suit you and play that recording as you are drifting off to sleep at night. Why do that? Because that state between wakefulness and sleep, that part where you're drifting off, is called the Theta State. And the Theta State is a place where the subconscious mind just absorbs and absorbs information. It is something of a shortcut for you to go ahead and just download those affirmations and see a change, subtle but steady, in your mindset. So that is the first tool I want to introduce you to, affirmations, and I call it affirmations on steroids when you add the voice recording and using it in the theta state. Let's talk for a moment about how the imposter syndrome shows up in selling. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with the imposter syndrome. It's that place in our psyche where there's that extreme and chronic self-doubt and insecurity about your capacities. It's that inability to believe that your success is valid. People give you accolades. Oh, you're wonderful at this. You're great at this. And you'll say something like, oh, that was nothing but luck. This shows up in the sales process. Are you someone who habitually struggles with the imposter syndrome? Do you second guess your skills, your talents, your worth, your intelligence, looks, knowledge, likability? If you were to look at your self-talk, would it be berating or would it be advancing you towards your goal? Oftentimes, when we're struggling with the imposter syndrome, our self-talk is very berating. If you could have made that sale, if you weren't so stupid, you could have done that. Or you might hear some really critical talk. You don't deserve to charge X for your services. Who's going to pay that? Or if anyone saw the real me, they see that I was a fraud. If you're finding other people's assessment of you far better than your own, these are all clues that you might be struggling with the imposter syndrome. Here's some other forms of self-talk that you might hear through the lens of the imposter syndrome. It has to be perfect for you to send something out. If it's not perfect, it's not going out. You're thinking you're not good enough. You believe sometimes that people are onto you. They see that you are indeed a fraud. What a painful way to live. Before I get into this slide, do you know that anywhere from, I think, 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts course through our minds in a day? So my question to you is, as you slow down and begin to observe yourself, what are you finding? Are you finding that most of your thoughts are supportive and influences your actions? Or do you find yourself procrastinating and maybe even sometimes throwing in the towel because of the consistent and persistent negative nature of your self-talk? We know that sales is the very foundation of our business, but when we're being barraged by negative self-talk and emotions such as fear and insecurity, it's so easy to be someone who shows up inconsistently when it comes to selling, when we need to be consistent with sales. And then my question is, how many thousands of dollars have you left on the table because of your inconsistency with sales? Take a moment, think about that. Go ahead and put your answer in chat. Perhaps because of the imposter syndrome, you think, oh, I'll never be good at sales. And guess what? If you truly believe that, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. when the truth of the matter is that sales is a learned skill as in anything else. You might see your insecurity even popping up in sales presentations. Maybe you stutter because you really are wondering if what you're charging is equal to the service. You doubt your own services and products. You're being riddled with self-doubt. See, these are the kind of symptoms that when formed and when they're consistent and chronic will keep us playing small in our business. And if this continues, we jeopardize the health of our business. And this is something that we're going to learn how to change. And we can learn how to change by using the tools, choosing some of the tools that I'm going to introduce to you today, and to use them regularly to begin to see some real shifts in energy. Why is transforming your sales mindset so important? I was listening to a webinar. I was very impressed by this gentleman named Mike. Mike was in the solar panel business. And for years, he was stuck at making $1.5 million. Many of us would be satisfied with $1.5 million, but that was not his goal because he was super ambitious, but he knew something was blocking him. Something was in the way. And as he began to dig a little deeper, he decided to hire a mindset coach. And what he learned and discovered about himself was that he was ambivalent towards people. Well, you know, if you're in business, people are the very hub, right, of your business. So as he began to work on this, there were some childhood incidents that had occurred that had him walk away with the thought and with the mindset that people were a little bit dangerous and he needed to be a little bit suspicious of people. But he worked on this mindset because he knew that it wasn't true. And what he ended up doing was forgiving. What he ended up doing was processing. What he ended up doing was letting go of that mindset that served him at one time, but is not serving him anymore. And what ended up happening was that his social anxiety got better. Once his social anxiety got better, this gentleman, his business got better. He is now making $10 million a year in his solar panel business. Boy, and he has even higher desires for it to rake in $100 million. But he swore by this process because he realized that as he began to shift his energies, to let go of negative energies and that which didn't serve him anymore, he was able to increase his sales. This is why we want to transform our sales mindset, ladies and gentlemen. I have a client, Anthony. Anthony has two businesses, health and wellness and financial services, and there were missing parts in his sales system. He admitted that, and we trained in the 9-step system of sales. We created templates for him. We did a lot of rehearsing, and he really needed to work on overhauling that imposter syndrome that was related to sales, because he showed up, again, inconsistently, and he showed up with less than his best self. We'll put it that way. He dreaded prospecting. He wasn't into sales presentations. He became unglued, as so many of us do, when it comes to handling prospects' rejections or objections, rather. But with the help of tools that he was given, that he used faithfully, and he was one hardworking client, he was able to begin to transform some of those dynamics. And I'm happy to say that he's on his way to doubling his income. This was a dream client who did two things to become a sales superstar. He worked as hard on his skills as he did on his sales mentality. It takes both. It takes, right, clearing up our energies, and it takes upping up our skills game. You put that together, it is powerful. You'll end up closing more business. So let's have a discussion. I want you to think of your last sales presentation. By the way, you can take a picture if you want to of this slide if you want to. But think of your last sales presentation. What parts of the sales process were you comfortable with? Maybe you're great at building rapport or showing your client how your service can transform their lives, okay, or to close. And where do you get stuck? Typically, there's a lot of people who get stuck on following up. They are comfortable with following up with prospects who said, call me later. I might be interested in your services a little bit later. Maybe you are someone, it's difficult for you to come up with, probing questions that will help reveal the prospect's deeper needs. Then my last question is, what part did mindset, negative thoughts, and emotions play in the process? So think about that. I am coming out, and we're going to have a quick group discussion on this. Here we go. Okay. All right. So, hello, Katie, I see you first. So I'm going to go to you first. But when you think about your sales process, Katie, where do you think that you are strong and you're superwoman and you're fantastic? And where do you feel, geez, this is where mindset comes in regards to my sales. It's trickling into my emotions. It's trickling into my beliefs. It's trickling in. And let's discuss that for a moment.
Rosalind, I feel pretty comfortable with my sales pitch, if you will. I'm just not quite sure how to close. I can get people excited and interested, and then they may or may not register. So
My question to you is, just roughly, what do you think your close ratio is? If you had 10 sales presentations, how many of them are you able to close? Roughly.
I don't know that I can answer that because my sales are pretty much soft sales. And so I just talk to people in general and say, hey, it's here if you're interested.
So are you saying that when you say soft sales, so you don't necessarily, am I assuming correctly, go through steps? Like you don't have a formal sales process where you're going through 9 steps?
No, I'm starting one. I'm starting an email campaign, which I think will change it. And a lot of it was because I was working full time. And so it was just kind of haphazard. But now I'm retired, which
Yes,
just means
and
I'm
congratulations, by the way.
moving on to something else. And so, yeah, I am kind of setting up a system now, because before it was just kind of, this is what I have to offer. If you're interested, that's great.
Yeah, well, I hope you join us, because the system makes all the difference in the world. And as an educator, we don't walk in, or especially as an elementary school teacher, I know I didn't walk in and say, so what are we going to talk about today, students? But rather I had a curriculum.
Sure.
Yeah, and then we, personalize that. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And Suresh, who is a sales genius.
Yes, please, ma'am. Thank you. Tell me.
So how do you feel about the sales process? Is there any part of the sales process where you're saying, gosh, I got to get better with this part of the sales process?
Yeah, absolutely. Selling is both an arts and science.
Mm-hmm.
And the steps are, you are saying 7 steps, 9 steps, 3 steps. See, selling become easy. First, demarcate or point out what are you selling and whom are you selling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you have spent your entire life as an educator, so you are selling, to the students. Might be your colleagues, to your professional teachers, professor, like that. So selling an article or selling to a group of people, that varies. When you see a insurance agent, he's selling the policy, he's giving the benefits to them. So basically, when we sell, we have to, we are in a need, we should not sell. We have to, discover the need of the customer, why he
Mm-hmm.
need the product. Suppose I'll listen to you. Why shall I listen to you? Or you will listen to me. I am selling, one concept to you. Is there any need with you in your work? That I have to know. As I rightly told you, and an insurance agent, he or she explains to the client, these are the things. If you'll do this, you will get this. He is
Mm-hmm.
selling a concept to him. And come to my background, pharmaceutical selling. So my job responsibility is, to sell the corporate policy to a team of manager, M1, M2, M3, M4, right? So through them I achieve the sale. I don't achieve directly sell or directly achieve. Achievement is of the team. I can't take credit. I have done this. So I go through the sales funnel. These are the steps you have to do. Maybe, in pharmaceutical selling, first the identification of the customers, or you can say who are the customers, what is their meeting time, which product you will be telling, to them, what should be the communication, scientific communication, both verbal and non-verbal, what should be the leave behind, LBL or the product or sample. Once I had shared with you, if a very top notch, it does not allow the call, so you can go for the BBC, break the bread with that customer. So different steps we have to follow, but the number one is identification, and which product I am selling to him, that I have to put the product, pharmaceutical product, which you are fond of writing. I may not be. XYZ may not be writing that. So from the RCPA, retail chemist prescription audit, we should come to know that what is the prescription habit of that doctor. Similarly, if you put in insurance, which product, whether he is having any insurance or not, health insurance, vehicle insurance, or other insurance, we can do whether he is having or he needs. We have to find out the need. Without the knowing the need, suppose somebody is let ma'am is not having a vacuum cleaner. As a
Mm-hmm.
busy woman and housewife, she is facing difficulty, to cleaning the house. So I know, a vacuum cleaner, I can sell it to him by passing the benefits. So process we have to
Yes.
follow.
That's very
Correct?
good, and this is why I call you the sales guru. I mean, you get the intricacies of selling. Absolutely. And it just requires a lot of just being in the waters,
Yes,
and
ma'am, one line. Excuse me.
and
Just
I
one
said
line I'll add. One line I'll add. One line I'll close with
yes,
telling one line. Yes, please. Just 30
excellent,
seconds. See,
excellent.
two
I'm gonna
important
go.
things.
I'm gonna go on Suresh because I want Kavitha, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. This is
Okay,
the first time
so
I'm doing a sales call, so
okay. Oh, well, fantastic. Welcome. So I'm sure that how long have you been in business?
about a year.
Okay, about a year. Okay,
Yeah.
so in selling, because I'm sure that you've sold some things, where do you feel like you're really great? You're great at this part of selling, but then there's other parts of selling that you are not so comfortable with.
I can't say what I'm comfortable with because a lot of my sales are digital sales, so it comes through a marketplace for me, and I've got my stuff out there and people buy it. What I've got the strength is the knowledge that whatever I'm providing is possibly the best product and the best service that I can provide. So I'm very confident about the product I'm putting out there. I'm a bit of a perfectionist. maybe some of that imposter syndrome is pushing me to, perfect my craft before I put it out. But if you put me face to face with somebody, or ask me to pick up a phone and say, talk to a retailer and say, oh, would you stock my products? I ain't doing that. I've never done that. And it's because of the fear of putting myself in front of people. So
yes. So Kavitha, do you want to eventually?
Yeah, I want to grow my, because I've started my business in my 40s, mid 40s, I feel like there shouldn't be a mountain that I shouldn't climb. I should be able to, if I set my mind to it, I should be able to do it. And I'm in that journey of, more, not so much as the money that I want to make, it's the self-growth I'm more interested in, to say, if that's a challenge that I've not been able to do. So how am I going to break through that and make more sales?
I love that. I love that. You're in the right place then, because a lot of it is personal growth. We need to grow out of our fear. And of course, sales skills.
Yeah.
Excellent. So let me continue on. Thank you for sharing, guys. Let's hop back into our presentation here. All righty. Oops. So I wanted to talk about 3 ways to transform mental blocks. I already threw in a 4th one, but this is really, really key. I'm just a big believer in us really taking ownership of our mindset. I always liken this to people who love to exercise, and how exercise is so important. And we see it in the media. We see so much talk about diets and getting fit and strong. And I am all for it. Likewise, I would like to see that our wellness become a top priority. There's so much that we can do every day to move ourselves towards our goals. There's so much we can do to begin to change the negative thoughts, the negative energies, the emotions, the negative self-talk. There's much that we can do. If we use these tools that I'm introducing to you regularly, then we are taking responsibility for the mental game that is very, very important when we're selling. I consider selling to be a very vulnerable practice, because you're standing in front of the prospect and you're basically saying, look, and I know that I created my programs from scratch. I created programs from scratch, and you're saying to the prospect, this is my program. This is what I created. This is how it's going to transform your life. And this is how much it costs. Well, it takes a certain level of, I think, self-esteem and know-how to be able to do that, and to do that over and over again. So this is why, as Suresh said, that sales is not just science, it's science and an art form. Let's start with regular connection. I'm going to talk about it in 2 different ways. Oftentimes we take people and relationships for granted. And therefore, we connect in an irregular sort of way. But here's the point, is that all of us, if we're going to go to the next level, we need people. If we're going to go to the next level, we need people. If we're going to do more, if we're going to be more, if we're going to learn how to be interdependent, if we want to become the best version of ourselves that we can be, we need to, first of all, acknowledge our limits, and need to know that we need to come out of ourselves asking other people for help. Because people do several things for us. Number one, they encourage us. Okay. They give us resources that we didn't have to ourselves. They provide emotional stability for us sometimes. Isn't it wonderful to be able to vent to others about our feelings and our shortcomings, but to also discuss our wins? We need to be able to bring all of ourselves to people. For example, let me talk about how to use people, the right kind of people, to help us in our sales game. For instance, I decided, for instance, this is the day that I'm going to throw in the towel. This is the day I'm going to throw in the towel because I made 12 cold calls. And I heard 12 no's. And maybe it stroked my sense of insecurity. It triggered it. And I feel this day I cannot make one more cold call, even though that's part of my sales strategy. And you're tempted to quit. Now, this is how you use people smarts to get back on the wagon. I am a big proponent, everyone, of having an accountability partner, because if you have an accountability partner, then you can call that partner and share some of your struggles and where you are emotionally. You can derive strength from that accountability partner. That accountability partner can say to you, I understand. They can validate your feelings, but let's try to nonetheless hit your goal for today. You said that you wanted to make, let's say 20 calls. So let's just go for it. Make those 20 calls. And I tell you, sometimes when people believe in you, when you can't believe in yourself, it creates this wonderful momentum that you can build off of to help you to accomplish things that you couldn't accomplish alone. So you find that second win because you've had that conversation with your accountability partner. And because they've encouraged you to go ahead and hit your goal for the day, you're able to do it. And who knows, you just might get a yes out of those remaining 6 calls. This is one way how you use people smarts or connection to help you stay the course in regards to sales. Get yourself an accountability partner. I'm going to share a little bit more. Secondarily, I have been trained by a couple of psychologists who insists that we need to have regular connection, that we should look at it as breath is the lungs, right? As to breathing, that we need to be connected to people twice a week. You can call those people call them part of your success team. But the point is that 2 calls, 2 30-minute calls, okay? Once a week, where you're sharing, each of you, your business struggles. You can find a business bestie that you can talk with. You can share your business struggles, your triumphs. If you're open to suggestions from your friend, listen to the suggestions. Get some new input that you may want to try out. It builds it builds resilience in you. That connection will help fuel your motivation, and it can help you be a lot more successful in business. One thing that I do every Monday, 8 a.m., which is a difficult time for me because I'm not a morning person, but I connect with my mastermind group. There are 4 people in that group. This is a real group where everybody is for real, and they're talking about their successes and their struggles in business. They're looking to receive encouragement from one another. They let that encouragement build their spirits. They ask for suggestions and input. And I have to tell you, because I've been part of that mastermind group for almost a year now, it has made a tremendous difference in my mindset, in my ability to be resilient, in my ability to be consistent with sales. This sounds so simplistic, but if you do it regularly, you will see changes in your mindset and who you are. All right, let's go to the next tool that I would love for you to use, journaling. Journaling. Why journal? That sounds so simplistic also. Well, I'm a great believer in self-awareness. I think people fail to realize that that's where your superpower is being able to observe yourself and to know yourself like the back of your hand. Journaling will help you do that. What triggers you? What issues do you need to work out? You can put that on a safe piece of paper and begin the process and work that out. It helps you solve problems. It helps you to be able to brainstorm solutions, which leads you oftentimes to be more creative in your approaches to certain issues. And it just, again, it provides a safe place for you to understand you. This is so, so critical. How to journal is very, very simple. Some people do it on a legal pad. Some people do it on index cards. Some people get a nice, beautiful leather-bound journal. That's fantastic. It's whatever you like. My suggestion, what makes this, again, a viable tool is when you do it regularly. I'm going to suggest no less than 5 times out of the week, spending 15 minutes journaling regularly. You can do it under any kind of ambiance or circumstances. Some people like to play music when they journal. Some people need it to be very quiet when they journal. It's all up to you how you do that. Again, the important part is for you to show up and begin to share with your journal some of your struggles that you might be having towards sales. To be very honest with you, there has been times that when I have journaled and I'm thinking that I'm dealing with one issue, one type of fear or one issue in regards to mindset, and I've discovered through journaling that is something totally different that I needed to process. So it is a very invaluable tool. And can I just say that it's free? Oh my goodness, it's free. And therefore, it's all the more important a tool. So here are some journal prompts. Again, if you'd like, you can take a picture of this, but it's to help you stimulate and to direct some of your journaling. You don't have to use this. Some people like to journal without any prompts at all and just let it form, let thoughts form. That's fine. But if you need some direction, here are 5 journal prompts that you can use. What has been your past experience with salespeople? And I'm going to add, and after you walked away from that experience, what did you begin to believe about salespeople? Prompt number 2, what are your strengths as a sales professional? Let me add to that. How can you continue to build and expand on your strengths? Number 3, what is the self-talk you hear as you prepare for a sales presentation? Begin to slow down and become an observer of yourself and see, how do you talk to yourself as you're preparing for a sales presentation or even in the midst of a sales presentation? Begin to look for patterns. I asked this question before, number 4, how many thousands of dollars do you estimate you have left on the table because of avoiding sales? Number 5, what is the number of sales presentations do you want to make each week, depending on how much you want to make each month in your business? What gets in the way of reaching these weekly goals? Oh, there's so many more questions that I can ask, but these are starter questions that can help you delve much more deeply into your mindset, what comprises your mindset and your thoughts, your belief system. And just maybe you'll discover it's time to dismantle some of those beliefs that you have been embracing for 20, 25, 30, 40 years. Goodness. So this is another powerful way to begin to transform your mindset. We're running out of time. Otherwise, we do this exercise. Let's get to the next very, very important one, which is reality checks. We all have to do reality checks. Reality checks are really, really important. And when I talk about reality checks, I'm really taking this particular exercise out of the world of cognitive psychology, which states that if you upgrade your thinking, you're going to upgrade your behavior. So what I always ask people to do is to carry a small notebook with them. And as you go out into the world, you're doing your business, you're going to find that life happens, things happen, something's going to trigger maybe some emotions such as fear or shame or self-doubt. I want you to have your pen and notebook ready. Let me give you an example. Helen, for example, she suggested to me that I rewrite a portion of my proposal. She said that in front of other colleagues. And at first I was okay about it. But as I began to think about it, I started getting really triggered. I found myself getting angry. Then I started feeling this sense of incompetence. Now, this is when I'm going to pull out my notebook and my pen, because what I want to do is to begin to really examine those feelings and thoughts that I have in relationship to Helen. I would take my notebook, I would fold it in a page in half. On one side, I'm going to talk about succinctly the issue that just transpired. I would write it down succinctly, the issue that just transpired. I would write something like, Helen, it feels like she outed me in front of my colleagues. She criticized my proposal. Now I'm really, really angry. So write that down. Now, on the other side, the right-hand side of the paper, I want you now to refute or prove to yourself that Helen intentionally decided to out you in front of your colleagues. This is where I call this the sweet spot, because when you take thoughts from here and you put it on paper, it somehow makes it concrete. You're actually working with these thoughts, and then you begin to tend to see transformation. And this is, for example, what I wrote. Did Helen really out me in front of my colleagues? truthfully, that is not her nature. She's not one to do that kind of thing. But I do feel this sense of being incompetent. Not quite sure where those feelings came from. I need to explore that a little bit more. Just maybe I need to let Helen off the hook. Maybe it's my issue that I need to work on. Here's the point that I want to make with this reality check that you use, is that it's powerful. That it, and when you work this, when you work on your thoughts, when you have to prove that what you think is true, what your perceptions are real, when you have to prove that, you will oftentimes find that you're thinking in an errant sort of way, an erroneous sort of way. And what happens is that the emotions of incompetence, the feelings of shame and fear and anger will begin to dissipate. Okay, maybe it was an 8, now it's moving down, down, down to a 3, which is great, because when the emotions begin to downsize, when they begin to dissolve, you have access to your thinking brain. And when you have access to your thinking brain, then you're better able to think more creatively, more productively. You have more resilience. You know what the right thing is to do in response to any situation that you encounter out there. So this is a very, very helpful technique in helping you. Again, you're taking charge of your mindset, okay? So that it is in alignment with reality. And when you use this tool over, ladies and gentlemen, and over again, you will begin to see that you are more of a realistic thinker as time goes on, as opposed to an emotive one. All right, I see, boy, that we are moving very fast here. It's already on the hour. I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, for maybe about 5 more minutes of your time. I hope that you gleaned some powerful tools. These are some powerful tools, if you use them regularly, to help you to take control of your sales mindset. As you take control of your sales mindset, and you find that that thinking self of yours becoming the one that runs the show, and when you're less influenced by negative thinking, right, emotions, self-talk, what ends up happening is that you become a more effective salesperson. You're showing up more regularly. You are becoming more confident. You are closing sales left and right because you come off more professional and persuasive. And that's what happens in the end. We talked about the link between the imposter syndrome and selling. We had one discussion, and we talked about 4 tools. I gave you 4 tools to help you transform your sales mindset. And these simple strategies will take you far. I have a whole lot more in my tool belt, but these are some really substantial tools that if you use regularly alongside, remember, it's a 2-pronged approach. You're going to up your sales game, and you're going to transform your mindset. When you bring those 2 together, oh my goodness, you're talking about becoming a sales superstar. And so what I wanted to do now is present an offer to you, because I want to go a little bit deeper with you on this. There's so much more to be said. I have a 5-hour sales immersion, mega sales immersion webinar that's occurring August 14th, okay, 9 to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And this is a formalized presentation training to help you learn the 9 steps of selling. What I do Well, let's talk about some of the aspects and features of this program, is that you are going to learn the 9 steps, okay? We call it stage selling. You're going to be creating these 9 tailor-made mini templates that you put together to create a powerful presentation. You're going to learn a myriad of ways to lead generate. You're going to craft better questions to identify a prospect's deeper needs. That's so important. And you're going to learn why the close happens earlier than when you ask for the order. There's a trick to that. You're going to master how to handle a prospect when they share their objections with you. Okay. I'm going to give you my best 10 closing tips that work. And we're going to include a mock sales presentation. Practicing in a safe place where people can give you feedback is what you want to do. So many people will practice their sales presentation in front of the prospect. Please don't do that. That's not the place to do it. You want to do it in a safe place so that you can see where you're strong and where you need to get better. And then, of course, I'm going to share even more. I'm going to share 3 additional research-based strategies to help you build your sales confidence. All of this that occurs on August 14th is for $497. And if you act in the next 30 minutes by simply texting me, I want in. Text me at 310-488-7591. If you act in 30 minutes, I'm going to drop the price even more so. So we're going to take $50 off and make it $447. But you need to text me within 30 minutes in order to do that. And if you act in even in 10 minutes, I'm going to put a little added pressure. I'm going to not only drop $50 off, making it $447. I'm also going to do a 30-minute one-on-one session with you to help you specifically address your mindset issues and give you even additional strategies to help you do that. And that's going to be a powerful session, I guarantee. Again, in order to take advantage of these bonuses, you're going to need to text me 310-488-7591. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're someone who is finding yourself up at night trying to get your business profitable, if you know that sales is a weak area for you, and that you know that there are areas in the sales process for which you have a blank for, and or if your sense of sales is just you definitely dislike it. If you want to find a safe place that's going to empower you to walk out confidently handing one sales presentation after another, then you want to be part of this 5-hour sales immersion mega sales program, because it's not only teaching you the 9 steps that are involved in sales, you're also creating mini scripts to go along with each of those 9 steps, that when you put it together, you have a powerful, persuasive, professional sales presentation that the prospect is they're going to respond to that. You know, so many business owners will wing it, and they get wing it results. They wonder why their sales are so up and down, because you need to come in with preparation. You need to know what you're going to say. 3 or 4 different ways. You need to know what you're going to say. When a prospect says, why is your program so high? You have 3 or 4 different ways to answer that question, because you're coming in prepared, because you've attended this webinar. And that's what makes the difference between someone who is winging it and a professional. Professional is going to close more sales because they're really, really prepared. So again, one more time, I'm just asking you to come join me. Again, if you're acting within 30 minutes, taking $50 off the $497 price is $447. And if you act in 10 minutes, I am going to also throw in a 30-minute one-on-one session to help you specifically address your mindset issues. Text me right now, 310-488-7591. Does anyone have any questions? By the way, let me just also say to you that if you're unable to act within 30 minutes, that if you look in the chat, you will find a link to our Mega Sales Immersion webinar. So if you hit that link, it will take you to the registration page. You can sign up. If you need to talk to Rosalind, you have some questions, my Calendly link is in chat. And let me come out and stop the share. If there are any questions, I would love to answer anything that you might need to ask. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being here. It was an absolute joy to be able to serve you. And I know that what I've given you is going to help you in your quest to become a super salesperson. Until next time, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.